6 trig functions, sine, cosine, and tangent, which you already know. And then these are the reciprocals of each one that we learned last week. This is pronounced cosecant. It is the reciprocal of sine. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine. And cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. So we're going to start by using these 6 trig functions to evaluate different degrees and radian measurements that you have memorized, and you are more than welcome right now to start with to have your unit circle up. Okay, so Natalie suggested 90 degrees. So everybody think where 90 degrees is. In a little bit, you're not going to be able to use your unit circle. Okay, so 90 degrees is right here. The ordered pair at this point is 0, 1. Now secant. I remember that the reciprocal of secant, S doesn't go with S, it goes with C. So my first thing I think of is what is the cosine? What is the cosine of 90 degrees? Remember CBS, cosine before sine. So the number is, the cosine of 90 is 0. Now when you take the reciprocal of something, what do? Because, by the way, this is really 0 is the same as 0 over 1, because you can put 1 underneath any number. 0 divided by 1 is still 0. So I know the cosine of 90 degrees is 0, also written as 0 over 1. Okay? Keep that in mind. So when I say the secant, which is the reciprocal of cosine, I'm taking this answer of 0, 1, and I'm flipping it. So instead of it 0, 1, it's going to be 1 over 0. But here's the problem. Can 0 ever be on the bottom of a fraction? That means the answer to this is undefined. Christian, can you please give me a radian measurement that you have memorized? A radian. Were you here on Friday? Okay, so look at your unit circle. Remember our 6s and our 4s? Christian just said to me, thank you, Christian. Christian just said to me, 7 pi over 6. Everybody write 7 pi over 6. So everybody find 7 pi over 6. Now 7 pi over 6, if you need a little refresher, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's right here. Is this a reference angle to the top, the middle, or the bottom? It is the bottom. It is the bottom. And the bottom is 1, 2, 3. It is radical 3 over 2 and 1/2. Remember at this point, don't worry about the positives or the negatives, okay? All right, now cosecant is going to be the reciprocal. If it starts with a C, I need to have it start with an S. So I'm going to look for the sine. I want to know what is the sine? Well, the sine of 7 pi over 6, the sine CBS, the sine is 1/2. And if I take 1/2 and I take the reciprocal of it, it would be 2 over 1, which is the same as just 2. So the cosecant of 7 pi over 6 is 2. Could you write 2 over 1? Absolutely. That would not be incorrect. All right. Marlene C., please give me, please tell me a degrees. 60 degrees. The cosecant of 60 degrees. Start by identifying where is 60 degrees. 60 degrees is right here. It is the top. So it's going to be, it starts with a 1. So 1/2 and radical 3 over 2. I need to come back here. I just realized there's one thing I forgot to do at the very end. We have to decide the sign at the very end, remember? So all-star trig class is what Sergio taught you last week. All-star trig class. And so the only things in quadrant 3 that are positive are tangents and the reciprocal. Tangent and cotangent. So if it's not a tangent or a cotangent, it would be negative. Okay, going to come back up to this one. All right, so it starts with the C. So if it starts with the C, the reciprocal has to start with an S. I'm looking for the sine of 60 degrees. CBS, so it's radical 3 over 2. So the sine of 60 degrees is radical 3 over 2. And if I take the reciprocal of that, it means I need to flip it. So I'm going to flip it and have the 2 on top and radical 3 on the bottom. Mathematically, that's not wrong, but it's not written properly. What do we need to do to make this proper? Radical 3 on top, radical 3 on the bottom. 3 times 3 is 9, and we know the square root of 9 is 3. This is my answer. Now we decide, is it positive or is it negative? So in quadrant number 1, all-star trig class, everything is positive, so this final answer is positive. The cosecant of 60 degrees is equal to 2 radical 3 over 3. 2 radical 3 over 3. Sergio, can you please tell me give me 1 second here. Can you please tell me a radian measurement? Okay, so let's go with secant of 11 pi over 6. Let's first identify where that is. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, it's right here. Is the reference angle top, middle, or bottom? It is bottom, so 1, 2, 3, okay. Radical 3 over 2 and 1/2. Okay, so forget about positives and negatives, this is what we have. If we start with secant, if it starts with an S, now it needs to go with the C. So I'm looking for the cosine of 11 pi over 6. CVS, the cosine is radical 3 over 2. And by the way, we don't need to keep doing the work. I know that when I flip this, I get 2 over radical 3. When I take the reciprocal, which I need to do, I get 2 over radical 3. So times radical 3 times radical 3, 2 radical 3 over radical 9. So I get 2 radical 3 over 3. Now let's decide, is this positive or negative? It's in quadrant 4, all-star trig class. So that means cosines are positive. And reciprocals of cosines are also positive. So this final answer is positive. 1 through 5, your level of understanding right now, 1 through 5. Okay, here we go. We're going to move on to Gigi. Gigi, can you please tell me a degree? 235. 225? Good. 225. Okay, let's start with this. Cosecant of 225 degrees. All right, you have 10 seconds to write down and identify the ordered pair for 225. $45, 135, 225. Is this reference angle top, middle, or bottom? It's middle, so radical 2 over 2 and radical 2 over 2. Now, if it starts with the C, the reciprocal is an S. So I'm looking for the sine of 225. The sine of 225, CBS. So the answer is radical 2 over 2, but then I need to take the reciprocal of that. That means I need to flip this, so 2 over radical 2. Now, this is correct, but it's not in the proper form. So I'm going to take times radical 2 and times radical 2, and I get 2 radical 2 over radical 4. And I know the square root of 4 is 2. Still not done. The 2 on top and the 2 on the bottom can cancel out, and I'm left with just a radical 2 on top. So this answer is radical 2. Now let's ask ourselves, is the final answer positive or negative? So in this position, is the final answer positive or negative? All-star trig. That means trig, it starts with a T, tangents and the reciprocal of cotangents. Tangents and cotangents are positive. Everything else is negative. Okay, we are now going to go ahead. Is that our 6th example? Can you count for me? Is that 5 or 6? 5. Okay, we're going to do the next 5 with your current partner. Anthony, can you please think of a radian measurement on the unit circle? Thank you. 5 pi over 6. Everybody write this down. I'm going to give you a 30-second head start. I want you working the entire time with your partner. Raise your hand if you don't have a partner. Ingrid, are you okay to help out right now, Frankie? Okay, with Arthur? And Ingrid, can you come up here? Are you okay with that, Frankie? Yeah. Thanks for your help. Okay, with your partner, I'm giving you a 30-second head start. Ready? Get set, go. All-Star Trig class. So S stands for sine. So anything that's a sine or the reciprocal of sine is positive. This is not a sine. That means that this would be negative. Hands raised if you happen to get the same answer that I do. It is boxed in here. Okay, would anybody, by just a quick hand raise, like me to go over this one? Okay. Nobody wants me to go over it? All right, here we go. Hey Zeus, can you please tell me, trying to think how I want to do this one. Let's go with 2 more practice ones. Hey Zeus, can you please tell me a degree? 270. Okay, with your partner, this time I'm only going to give you a 15-second head start. Begin. What's another way to write -1? It's the same as -1 over 1. So when you take the reciprocal, you get 1 over -1. Could you write your final answer as 1 over -1? Sure, you could, but what is 1 divided by -1? It's just an answer of -1. How many were able to achieve an answer of -1? Hands up high. Would anybody like me to explain this slower? Okay, let's add in some complexity here. Okay, are you ready, Sarah Ann? Sarah Ann, you're going to go to Radian Measurements right now, okay? (2 pi over 3). Now, before we do this, I want you to write it down and then come off to the side. Let's remind ourselves. Tangent is the same as sine divided by cosine. So if you're asked to find the cotangent, it's the reciprocal. So instead, cotangent is cosine over sine. Cotangent is cosine over sine. All right, are you ready? Here we go. So let's identify where 2 pi over 3 is. As a quick review, most of us are used to counting by 4s or 6s when you have a blank unit circle. So to bump this up to a 6, I'm going to take it times 2 and times 2, and I end up with 4 pi over 6. So I'm going to find that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the position. Is this reference angle a high, middle, or low? High, middle, or low? Anybody? High, okay, and high starts with a 1. So 1/2 and radical 3 over 2. 1/2 and radical 3 over 2. Now CBS, okay? I want to do the cosine first. Cosine is 1/2. So I'm going to write down 1/2 divided by, we'll go ahead with the way Sergio first showed us, and we can definitely do it the horizontal way as well, divided by the sine in the denominator, which is radical 3 over 2. When the denominator and the top fraction is the same as the bottom, we get to wipe it out, and you're left with 1 over radical 3. It's not mathematically wrong, but it's not proper. I'm going to take the top and the bottom by radical 3, and I get 1 times radical 3 is radical 3. 3 times 3 is 9, and we know the radical 9, or the square root of 9, is 3. So this is my answer without looking at the sign. So I know that the cotangent of 2 pi over 3 is radical 3 over 3. Now let's figure out what sign should be there. In quadrant 2, all star. So that star stands for sine. That means sine and its reciprocal are going to be positive. This is not a sine, so its reciprocal would not be positive. 1 through 5, your level of understanding right now, 1 through 5. Okay, here we go. Next up. Give me 1 second. Carla in back, please think of a degree. Carla in back. I'm ready for you. What'd you say? 180? Okay, here we go. Cotangent of 180 degrees. Okay, well, where is 180? 180, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. This is 180. The ordered pair is -1, 0. Remember, that's cosine before sine. Cotangent is cosine of 180 over sine of 180. So cotangent is cosine over sine. So the cosine before sine is -1, and the sine is 0. Well, any number divided by 0 is undefined. Okay? With your partner, whoever's shorter between the two of you, you have 30 seconds to recap this problem. Ready? Get set, go. All right, you're going to do 3 practice problems with this partner like a quiz. We'll do 3 in a row actually, and I'm going to give you a total of 3 minutes here. Are you ready? Here we go. I need you to take your unit circles and put them underneath your desk. No calculators, no unit circles. Okay, are you ready? with your partner, I'm going to stop you after 3 minutes. Get going as fast as you can. Go. Just trying to make you think about him.